Doris Leaves Today's World Part 1 is a brilliant episode of the Doris Day Show, but I'm very, very nervous to find out what happens next. When I read the title, I kind of thought, what? What's going on? It also sounds very final as well. I mean, it's part 1, but it sounds like a storyline that should come at the end of a season, so I'm really unsure what's going to happen next. But there will be spoilers for part 1 as I go into a bit of detail about most things that happen in this episode. I do watch one episode a week because I wanted the show to last, but I am desperate to find out what happens next. And that was the case the last time we met Mr. Tyler. This is the 5th episode of the 3rd season of the Doris Day Show, and Doris bumps into Mr. Tyler in the park again. Mr. Tyler, of course, played by Ayres, and he offers her a job as his secretary for $20,000. This, of course, was released in the 1970s. And that is a phenomenal amount of money at the time. And she really likes Mr. Tyler. But she also likes Today's World. And there's this scene where she's telling Myrna about this encounter with Mr. Tyler. And Myrna's crying. And I don't want Doris to leave because I love Myrna. I love Mr. Harvey. I love Mr. Nicholson. But at the same time, Mr. Tyler is brilliant and he offers her so many amazing things. He gives her a tour of the office and she thinks it's his office, and he reveals that actually it's her office and it's a beautiful space. The set design is really nice. And then he introduces her to who would be her secretary. And obviously this is mind-blowing for her and it's an amazing opportunity. But we can't forget she's just been offered a $10 raise at Today's World, $10 a week. And obviously, comparatively, it's not a lot of money. But the fact is, the people at Today's World, Myrna, Mr. Harvey, Mr. Nicholson, are like a family to her. And for a bit, it was unclear what was going to happen. But considering this is part 1, I kind of assumed she'd accept the job. And then when she does accept the job, things are very confusing, I think, for Doris, because this is an amazing opportunity, but it becomes very apparent very quickly that it's not going to be necessarily the same as Today's World. It's suspected then that she doesn't get to spend a lot of time with Mr. Tyler, unlike her colleagues at Today's World. And while that's obviously a very different environment, he's also about to fly her out to Tokyo, which is absolutely an opportunity she wouldn't have had at Today's World. So things are very, very uncertain. And obviously he phones her up in the middle of the night as well, wakes up the boys. That's not a great thing. But then Doris is about to go to Tokyo and everything is just so confusing. And I have absolutely no idea what's going to happen next. Is the title a bit of a red herring? In part 2, does she actually go back to Today's World? Which, honestly, I'm kind of hoping is the case. But at the same time, if she works for Mr. Tyler, it could open up a whole world of new storylines. So I really don't know what would be for the best for the show. But my personal preference is that she would go back to Today's World, because I love Today's World. I love Mr. Harvey and Mr. Nicholson and Myrna. I guess I will find out next week. But either way, regardless of how apprehensive I feel about this, Doris Leaves Today's World Part 1 is a really brilliant episode with a lot of uncertainty, and I really thoroughly enjoyed it. Cannot wait for Part 2, but Part 1 was pretty spectacular.